I'm just going to go ahead and apologize for what you're about to listen to because the audio quality is horrible. I had the gain accidentally turned up way too high on this microphone. So my buddy Vinny that calls in, he's super crackly, and I'm probably sound like I'm blowing your speaker out. So, sorry. Okay, I'm now recording, so we're going to do day 4 now. We're just getting set up. Basically, my buddy Vinny here just called me up to say what's up. And he's asking me about the podcast. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, this is what it is, whatever. They started asking me questions like, wait a minute, this is what today's podcast is going to be. So you're pretty much caught up. So Vinny's on the phone, so I'm hoping this comes out well on my little speaker dealio. And right now you're stacked up on a bunch of my books. Only read about 3 of them.
All right.
Okay, so Vinny, what's up? What's your question about? Well, first tell me, the 2 people that are listening, what it is that you a little bit of background about your fishing and et cetera like that.
Okay, great. Well, my name's Vinny. I'm a catch and release fisherman from southern Utah. I've looked up to Adam ever since I've met him, and I know he's a computer guru with all different types of stuff. So I noticed that he started a podcast, and I was also thinking about starting a podcast myself. So I figured who better to call than the computer guy and the guy who just started a podcast. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Perfect. So everyone's caught up.
Everyone's caught up in a nutshell, literally.
Yep.
So my questions for you today, Adam, are stuff like I really want to get into this podcast stuff, but I'm a much better fisherman than I am a computer guy.
Yes.
So I've built somewhat of an organic following without any boosting or anything like that.
What's your Instagram name? You want to shout it out for the awesome links you're going to get?
Sure. So I'm at Southern Utah Angler on Instagram, and under Vinny Rosso on Facebook, ROSSO. So, and my Instagram handle is Southern_Utah_Angler. I'm a D-list photographer at best.
Dude, actually, your shit's pretty awesome, man. Like I want to call them action shots, but it's fishing, and I've gone fishing before. But I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, and obviously, I only shoot the better stuff because the rest of it is mostly sitting around drinking and enjoying other activities that I enjoy.
Exactly.
Mostly the outdoors. But anyway. So yeah, I would love to start a podcast because I've built this following, and I'd like to find out different ways to build I picked up a small, I guess not really a real sponsorship, but kind of like a good guy.
That's fucking awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah, and really lucky. I met some guys that came into my bar that were bigwigs kind of in the fishing industry, and showed them my stuff, and they actually liked it. So now I get, a great deal on very nice high-end fishing stuff. Which
do you want to plug their name?
Absolutely. It's Akuma Fishing. It's
that's an awesome name.
Yeah, and another thing too is it's a household name in fishing, so it's not like some D-list company. So they are a big company. So
that's awesome.
What's been nice, Adam, is that it's allowed me to be able to have the gear that I need and high-end gear without having to go out and pay full price for it, which really, really helps me because I am a working man, and
that you are.
Fishing's expensive,
So I know if anyone, I know someone's probably wanting to know, how did you get the sponsorship? Like, what was the story on how that happened?
So, I know a really famous swim bait builder. His name is Mike Shaw, and he makes the MS Slammer, all American made, which is absolutely amazing these days since so much stuff comes from overseas. But he is one of the original swim bait builders in the game, and he made a lure. Geez, I don't know, maybe if he hears this, he'll probably kill me if I don't say exactly
I
when.
have a strong feeling he's probably not going to hear this.
He probably will when I share it on my Facebook.
Well, that's true.
But, I mean, I want to say maybe he's been making the bait for 20 or 30 years, but he was a pioneer in the swim baiting world, and he also deals with the guys from Akuma, and they were seeing some fish that he was catching, and they wanted to come up and enjoy some of the great fishing that we have here in southern Utah. Well, to make a long story short, they showed up. I talk about fishing as a bartender all the time. People come and want to talk to me about fishing pretty much every night. So when these guys said they were here fishing, the guy was like, "Oh, I caught a fish this size." And I was like, "Sure, Dick. Everybody did." And then he says, "You want to see a picture, bitch?" And I go, "Sure. Show me a picture." And then I was like, "Oh, man, that's actually a really good picture." So then once we talked more, I ended up finding out that they actually knew my friend Mike, and they had came here because they had seen the fish that he had caught. And then I said, "Hey, I'm a fisherman too." You know, we started talking back and forth. I said, "Here's my handle." They looked at my pictures and they said, "Hey, you're awesome. You've got a great following, and we'd like to bring you aboard." And at that point, I was kind of taken back because nobody's ever really given me shit except you, Adam. So I was like, "Oh wow, this is really awesome," you know. So no, honey, I'm not going to start my own fishing company.
That's a bullshit. I'll help.
That was my daughter Olivia. She just turned 9, and she wasn't too interested in the outdoors, but now she's showing a lot more interest now. So I'm hoping to start adding my daughter into the content too, and
awesome.
Teaching her the some of the values and stuff that you can't learn in school that you can in the outdoors. You know?
I do that with my daughter from a business standpoint. I mean, she's had her own pop-up shop on the sidewalk now for the last 3-4 years. Like, she's always wanting to sell something. She's always trying to, like, you know, persuade people to get things done or do things for her.
Right.
It's like, I want to yell at her, like, "Yeah, you can't tell adults to do stuff for you. What are you doing?" But I'm like, on the side, I'm like, "But that was pretty fucking awesome."
And what's crazy is, like, you know, me and you are very close to the same age. I mean, the stuff that the kids can do nowadays.
Oh.
I mean, it's so far advanced to the way that we.
I mean, because the internet alone. I mean, you can run a business with no one ever seeing you, and that was one of the things that always drove me nuts as a kid. Because I remember starting up some things when I was like 14, and I had a great idea on how to on an advertising kind of a business thing I wanted to do, and I pitched it. I made like a little flyer, and I pitched it to all these car companies. I was growing up outside Detroit, so there's car companies everywhere, and I had this great idea. So I pitched it to all these car companies, and I sent a flyer out. And I got calls back on it. And I was like, awesome. Like, everyone was really interested in my pitch.
Right.
And it was really cool. Well, then I lost all of them immediately when I showed up to talk to them. And they're like, "Wait, no. You're the guy that gave me you're the kid that gave me the flyer. I was supposed to have a meeting with, the actual owner." And I was like, "I am the owner." And they're like, "Get the fuck out of here." It's like all of a sudden just the wall just came slammed down. Like, nope, not going to happen because you're a kid. But if you can remove that barrier, all of a sudden now it's 100%. Is this a service I want, and is it worth the money that you're asking for? And now it's a huge, huge benefit for kids and lowering that barrier of entry for entrepreneurship.
And, I think that you hit something on the head there is that, when you were 14, you literally had to go door to door to get that's the only way you could promote.
Yep.
And now
Absolutely.
With the internet, I mean, you could reach out there. I mean, I just saw a story that I don't know if it was. I think it was some kid had some disabilities, and then he started making socks. Did you see that, Adam?
No.
So he had some disability, right? And then he started making his own socks.
Okay.
And he did different stuff on there, stuff he liked, like little video game stuff. Before you knew it, overnight he was an internet sensation. And he had just huge. I'll send you the link to it later.
I'd love to read it.
Came across it on Facebook, and the great part about it is the kid donates 80% of the proceeds or something like that to
the cure for whatever he's going through or whatever, or research or something. Yeah.
Well, it was MS or something like that. So then now, I mean, him and his father, that's all they do is make these socks. And on the other 20% that they keep for the profit, I mean, they're just making an absolute ton of money. So it's a win-win. And this little boy was kind of told that he was never going to amount to anything, you know. But with the internet and how quick things can get out, whether if it's positive or negative.
Yeah, I was going to say, 'cause like, to me, this is a total fad business, but it's a fad business in the best possible way. It's someone making money from taking the initiative to try something on their own, especially when everyone tells them you can't do it, and then making a good amount of money and probably publicity and helping out a good cause. So it's like, shit, dude, you know, that's like the American dream.
Absolutely. And, you know, like where I was going with this is, you know, the internet can either make you or it can break you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, before, if you were, I use this quite often because I'm a bartender. Like, if you get somebody who's sitting next to you in the bar and he says something that you don't like, you've neither got to tell him, hey, dude, I don't like what the fuck you said, or keep your mouth shut. Well, with the internet, the way it works now is the keyboard warriors, that confrontation of actually having to look at somebody in the eyes and say, you know what, dude, I don't fucking like you.
Yep.
That just doesn't exist anymore, because now with the internet, I mean, I could go on there and I could troll people all day long and never have to face them face to face.
Yep. And you've done that.
And I have done that. I think we've both been in that boat before.
Oh, yeah. Well, dude, I remember the amount of shit I used to get when I ran bodymod.org. You know, I had 250,000 people a month, you know, and there was all forums and postings, so it was just 250,000 people just throwing their opinions around. And if someone didn't like, you know, me or my side or the way I was doing something or my ideas, people would fucking tell you. They do not care. And I remember so many times where, you know, someone would just tear me a new fucking ass because they disagreed with, you know, whatever it was. But then I'd meet up with them. Like there was one time I was writing about body suspension. And, you know, I was like, hey, this stuff, you know, yes, I understand it used to be like this big tribal rite of passage and this and that. And, you know, at this point when I was writing about it, it still, you know, kind of was. I mean, literally, like, the first suspension crew that I met were the rites of passage crew out of New York. But, so I was just writing about how, but it's turning into a shock sport now. You know, it's turning into, you know, the intermission at the tattoo conventions. It's turning into, you know, something just for shock value to get instant publicity, or, you know, it no longer was this ritualistic, tribal, you know, feeling emotional thing, which I'm fine with either way, honestly. I was like, my perception of what I was seeing going on, you know, I was kind of like reporting what I saw in the field, if you will. But, so I wrote this big article, and then when I went to Europe, I was over in Milan with some guys and huge body, you know, things, and this one dude's like, oh, hey, what's up, whatever, I'm so-and-so on your site, and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm like, dude, all you do is give me shit all fucking day, every day. It's like, I'm just fucking with you. I'm like, dude, it's like, you have no idea the amount of shit you start just because you're bored.
Right.
Like, fuck.
So is the truth to be told that any publicity is good publicity? You know what I mean? Did all his shit talking actually help when the people that agreed with what you were saying?
No, it's, you know what it is? I think the phrase of there's no such thing as bad publicity only exists when you are trying to grow. But once you've either peaked or plateaued or you're pretty much at the top, bad publicity absolutely does not help. Because now you're at a point of sustainment. You know, you're not trying to reach it anymore. You've reached it. So now you have to hold on to it. And I think holding on to it's even harder because there's always something new and your thing always dies. Like, unless you're fucking oil or fucking, you know, something that's just going to be around for fucking ever, you know, you're eventually going to disappear. Look at all the biggest companies in the world. They've, like, most of them have disappeared. Fuck, Ford's about to disappear. So it's just a matter of time. I mean, and then the company's gone. So yeah, whatever.
And that's really interesting coming from somebody who's ran successful stuff like that, because somebody like me would say, oh, bad publicity is still good publicity. You know what I mean? So I learned something, you know, in the last...
Fuck, are you kidding? I was just talking with some friends of mine I was out in Denver. We were getting kind of fucked up, and we were just having good, barroom conversations. None of us agreed with each other, but it was a good debate, reasoning, and a good conversation with people without having to punch each other in the face, which is always a good time.
Right.
So, basically having in-depth conversations with intelligent people. Good times all around with lots of alcohol involved. So we're sitting there talking, and then I was like, dude, you know what? It's like nowadays we having these conversations. I feel like we really have to. Like we were down in like a basement back corner having these drinks. We're like we have to be hiding in a dark corner to have these conversations because otherwise, dude, someone pulls out a fucking phone or they're recording you or someone has a fucking hissy fit next to you, and then they put you up, and next thing you know, you're fucking all over the news about how you're racist or you're sexist or any of the ists that is like, dude, nowadays, I think if you're labeled, if you want to get really hardcore, if some chick or some dude sees you in a bar, let's say you're not even a famous person, but like, you have a person of position, like let's say you, I don't know, just even a manager at the local TJ Maxx, nothing exciting whatsoever. But someone sees you at the bar and you make a joke about pedophilia because it's fucking funny, right? And you're like, oh my God. Now, all of a sudden, that person next to you doesn't know you. They don't know you just have a weird, dumb sense of humor, that you've been this way your whole life and whatever. But, and they don't find it funny because their dad raped them as a kid or some shit. You really hit a nerve. So then they recorded that joke in that conversation, and they publish it to the local news that the headline just reads, local TJ Maxx store manager is a pedophile. You're fucked. You are fucked for the rest of your life. You are fucked with a capital F.
Totally.
So, yeah, I don't think there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Well, it's funny that you touched on that because obviously I know you personally, so you have very similar political views, which I really hate politics all in general, but we do have very similar political views. And I think a lot of times most Americans, even if we don't agree on everything, which humans are never going to agree, but I think most Americans fall more into the middle. And nowadays, you touched on a really good point, that they'll call you a racist. I mean, the term racist gets thrown around in American society now like we fart. I mean, literally, you could, pass gas or whatever, and somebody could call you a racist in the next, just based on maybe something that you don't actually agree on with them. And once again, like I said, being a bartender, I get sometimes a diehard liberal couple sitting right next to a very conservative couple.
Yep.
But when they're face to face, they treat each other with respect.
Yep.
But if it's over a Donald Trump post on the internet, they'd be ready to cut each other's throats out.
Yeah, it's that lack of self accountability. They can just they're throwaway comments with no recourse whatsoever. And there's a serious problem when you live a life without having to pay for the consequences of what you do. Absolutely. And what's fucked is we're training kids to that's the way life is. Like it's developed into that. Like we know it. It's like these kids know. Like I'm curious right now. I mean, I don't know anybody in high school, but I would imagine like the coolest popular kids are probably the ones with the highest following count. Like I bet there's a direct correlation there with their online popularity with their real life popularity, and I bet they closely intertwine.
Oh, I'm sure they do. I don't know anybody in high school right now, but what I can tell you is that I just recently had to kind of have Olivia stop watching Nickelodeon. And this is interesting too, because I try not to filter my kid too much. Like in safety, Rachel and I most of the time overparent. Yeah. But when it comes to, I cuss in front of my kids.
Yeah, me too.
I don't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they're going to hear cussing.
But they know sure as shit not to do it in front of me. They know it's wrong. Right. It's the same reason they can see someone smoking a cigar. They see someone driving a car. They see someone having an alcoholic drink. They know it's okay for them to do it, but for that person to do it, but not for my kid to do it. They understand what's right and wrong, and they're not old enough. Just like how we were taught as a kid. It's not rocket science.
Oh yeah, sure. I learned every racial slur that by the time I was 7 years old, driving on the highways with my old man on the 91 freeway, in SoCal and this kind of stuff. And then one day I told my dad, I said, "Hey, Dad, that's racist." You know what he told me? "Son, I'm fucking racist against everybody. I hate fucking white people too." So I think that lots of our generation did grow up a different, just in a complete different time. But
yep.
The problem with the Nickelodeon thing that kind of tripped me out, just kind of blew me for a loop one day when she left it on and left, and I watched it for a second, was that the politics that they were forcing down our kids' throat. And really, I don't really care what side of the fence you lean towards, but I at least want my child to make her own decision.
Dude, my daughter comes home bashing Trump every day.
Yeah.
Schoolyard politics. I couldn't... Dude, I remember elementary school pretty well. I don't remember a single... And I remember, like, the president was Reagan or the president was Bush or whoever it was back then. And I'm like, I knew who the president was, but I wasn't running going, our president's a fucking moron. Like, he's a potato, blah, blah, ha, 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 ha. Like, dude, it's fucking crazy. But also, she came home with, like, a little in-school flyer pamphlet thing of, like a worksheet almost that they were given. And... she gives me all the work, but I didn't see this one yet. So we're sitting there talking at dinner, and all of a sudden I was like, "Hey, Alexa, what's a good thing to do? As just a person, like, what's something we can do to make everyone be happy and live nice?" And she's like, treat citizens with respect." And I was like, "That's a good one." I'm like, "Wow, where'd those words come from?" I was like, "I didn't teach you that, but you're absolutely right." So I was like, "Where?" Right. And she's like, "Oh, we learned that in school. A good citizen treats other citizens with respect. A good citizen cares about other people's feelings. A good citizen..." I'm like, "Why do you keep saying a good citizen?" So she gives me this flyer out of her book, and no shit, it's a worksheet handout on how to be a good citizen. I'm like, "Oh, me and your teacher are going to have a talk."
Right. It just seems like, we rewrite history all the time. And really, I'm pretty punk rock when it comes to the government, when it comes to, I think most all the presidents we've had have been fucking liars.
Oh, fuck, yeah, of course they are.
Every politician will sit there and just completely fucking tell you whatever they want to hear, whatever you want to hear for a vote.
But I think as good citizens, we should know that that's a load of horse shit that we're being fed to. And if you honestly believe that politician, you're the fucking jackass.
Absolutely. So when it came to this election, and I never really voted before. I never did. Yeah. Because I didn't know enough about it, and I was like, "Oh, shit, man. I fucking hate politicians anyways, and this and that. But this time I'm going to vote, right?" And I do, and then next thing I know, I'm being called a racist. Now, did I make the right decision in my vote? I would hope to think that I did, because I was fucked between two evils. Yeah. You know what I mean? I voted for Trump. I'll say I did. But have I agreed with a lot of the stuff he has? Sure. Have I agreed with a lot of the other stuff? I haven't. Some of the stuff I'm like is so hokey once we go back again to the good old internet. Yep. I never thought I would see a president who would tweet such ridiculous stuff.
Dude, fucking absurd.
Absurd, dude.
What's funny, man? I have that Trump shirt. Well, one, I bought the one Trump shirt. I bought his election shirt, where it just said Trump 2018 or whatever. And, dude, it was the most uncomfortable, scratchy fucking t-shirt I've ever had in my life. They purposely bought the shittiest shirts they could find, I guess. And, I have a lot of fucking... I have every band t-shirt ever, I think since I was like 16. So I have a lot of t-shirts. But I still purposely wore it. And then I found a site, what the fuck was it called? Where they do like full screen prints. I forgot the name of it. It was a really funny site. They have, the full screen print t-shirts and all kinds of weird shit. But they had a big Trump one where he's like on a tank with a golden fucking 50 cal and a big eagle coming behind him and explosions going off everywhere. I was like, that shirt's fucking amazing. So I bought it, and I'm wearing it around, and like people would get pissed at me that I was wearing this shirt. I would get so many looks and so many evil stares. I was like, fuck yeah, it's working. And my friends were like, dude, why the fuck are you wearing that Trump shirt? I'm like, dude, pentagrams don't piss people off anymore. Like, you can have a fucking huge 666 across your chest, and dude, you know, we had both of these shirts, like, you know, fucking Jesus with like a crucifix rammed up his ass, and people are like, oh, that's those fucking weird metalhead kids. It's like the shock value's gone. So, but you wear a Trump shirt, dude, you'll piss off everybody.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, knowing you personally, I've seen you walk around with a shirt that has a nut on it that says "fucking whore." Serious. And you know that I am being serious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I just like pissing people off, man. I think people live in such docile lives that they need to be woken up, you know, and kind of like feel emotion again, and like, I don't know, just get it out. Like, I love that shit.
And I would imagine that fits your criteria absolutely perfect.
Exactly.
Because you love that shock. You know what I mean? Because it actually, a little bit of shock kind of lets you know that maybe somebody's got some actual balls to say something to you. Then it's like, oh man, the people are breathing. At least they're sucking air.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So yeah. Now that we've touched on a couple of different stuff that we could go on for fucking hours.
So a podcast, you say?
Sometime we'll have to talk about Elon Musk.
Oh, dude, that dude's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. That guy is, you know, I think he's absolutely the shit. But anyway, so I was thinking about kind of starting my own podcast too.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about, I've got this shop here at my house, 60 by 90. It just pretty much holds a bunch of boats and fishing shit.
Yeah.
But I thought about taking a corner of it and starting a podcast in there, but making it really cool, you know, like...
Are you doing video?
Yeah, I would do video.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
So is that a podcast? I mean, they do a video too, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, podcasts generally are just audio, but, you know, a lot of people record video. And actually, like, today's podcast, I was actually going to try and do a video recording of it, you know, to try and practice it out, but fuck it, this was good content. I didn't want to pass it, so I was like, fuck it, we'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's great, just to think that, you know, as you're in the fetal stages of this stuff, you know what I mean? It's just like, hey, and I think that, you know, the conversations that you and I could have, that I would have with people in the fishing world about exactly what we were just talking about, all the way up into some lure I might fucking like.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yep.
So I thought about taking a portion of my shop there and making it like a little mini, you know, three-sided, maybe, three-sided with a top studio, something simple. I mean, nothing too crazy. Maybe have a fire in the back, some of my fishing photos. And then my buddy Matt actually was like, man, it's what you should do, or what we should do is we should build a desk, right, with a fish tank in it. Yeah. And I'll get some kind of aggressive fucking fish, right? And I'll feed them mice throughout the show. Yeah. No, I'm serious.
I know you are. That's why it's hilarious.
You know, my buddy Jeff, a long time ago, he had 2 peacock bass, and he named one Poncherello and one John after the show chips, because he's real crafty. You know what I mean? It was so he had these 2 big old aggressive peacock bass in this tank. And shit, everybody loved to go over there. They'd bring in mice, you know what I mean, to drop in there and watch these things eat. They're way aggressive. They're way aggressive, you know. And so,
dude, have you heard of the monkey fish?
No.
You know those big? You ever go to like Chinese restaurants where they got the fish tank and there's those long eel-looking fish that are in there? They're way too big for the tank, but the Chinese people don't give a fuck.
Oh, yeah.
So, and they're like purple or like a dark color most of the time. Anyway, dude, those things are, they're obviously a real name, but they're also known as monkey fish, because those things get in the wild fucking huge, like 3 feet long, huge motherfuckers. And what they do is, in the rivers and shit, they got, you know, they're swimming around, and there's these, the trees along the branches lay, you know, they, I don't know, go out over the river, whatever, and monkeys go out there and fucking chill on the fucking branches over the water. These fish jump out of the water, grab a fucking monkey off a branch, smash back down to the river, drown the fucker, and then eat him. Dude, how fucked is that if you're somewhere where, like, fish are eating monkeys? They're ripping them out of trees.
So, it's interesting that you would even bring that up, right?
Yeah, that's not something I normally talk about every day.
No, it's not. It's not something, but that goes into the exact animal instinct that we think about in fishing. Is that on the most extreme end? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to fishing, like the way that most of us fish is, like, we don't really use bait and stuff, you know, like people think it's dropping down worms and stuff like that. We actually try to, you know, use tactics to imitate things that are happening naturally, which is the exact same thing that happens with the monkey. Would you say it was the monkey fish?
Yeah, the monkey fish.
Monkey fish,
someone needs to Google that shit and find the real name for that fish. I don't have an assistant yet. If anyone listening to this wants to be my volunteer assistant and lives somewhere in Long Island, let me know, because I need an assistant now.
I know, right? A monkey fish, you know, and
assistant, Google monkey fish. Okay, thank you.
I wish I was as tech savvy as you were. I'd probably be behind my computer telling you exactly what it's called right now.
Dude, I have 3 computers in front of me and a phone. You don't see me rushing to figure it out. Oh, fuck. So yeah, you know, I think that fucking podcast idea is awesome. Why not do it?
And I have, you know, lots of different friends from all over the place.
Yeah.
Not all of them are big into fishing, but I was thinking that at some point I'd have some characters probably being able to call in. You know what I mean?
Dude, welcome to my life right now.
Right, exactly. You know,
and I never, and just for the record, like, I never called you and said, "Hey, I'm doing a podcast. You should call me and be on my podcast show."
And I think that sometimes that reality too, of just when it's on the fly. I mean,
yeah. I'm
walking around in here doing circles. You know what I mean? And this is what I usually do when I'm not doing anything, anyways, to smoke cigarettes and walk in circles. So yeah, I was thinking about, you know, doing something like that, just having people calling in and maybe just checking it out. Then I would share videos of, you know, what I've caught during the week, videos of what my friends have caught during the week.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Maybe talk about you know, when some shark bites the motor off of some fishing boat during the week. You know, those clips that come out all the time when you're like, oh shit, that was crazy, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
And like I said, I would.
So here's the thing: once you start saying, yeah, we can start putting clips of whatever in, the first thing you're doing is now you got to edit video, which isn't hard, but it's a step and a process that you're going to have to do and learn. Okay, that's where my next question comes in. Now, is there a program that's readily affordable to where, like, let's say I had a buddy of mine that was fairly good at computers while I was doing this podcast, where I could just add a YouTube clip into where everybody could see at the same time without doing editing? Well, I mean, you're always going to have to do editing. And that's the... If you want to change the video, that is editing. So by default, you kind of have to. But what you can do is simple. Do you have a Mac or PC? Yeah. Mac? Okay. Awesome. Even better. So, dude, just fucking iMovie. Straight up. Dead simple. And then you can take videos with your phone and just import them, or a little GoPro or whatever, and cut them all in. It's super, super simple. I mean, that's what I started out making. What? I've used iMovie before. Yeah, I mean, that's what I started out when I was making the BodyMod.org, BodyMod.tv series. I did like 100 and something episodes of that. And that I started out with just iMovie. You know, I'd record with my little handheld camera and edit in iMovie, and it was plenty good enough. And then later, you know, bumped up to Final Cut Pro and threw in some animations and some bullshit in there. But realistically, my experience, and obviously you're talking to a guy who's now recording episode 4 of his podcast, so I'm not the most experienced in this part. But from doing things like, you know, I've done web TV shows, I've done real TV shows and things like that, the content is king. You know, the quality doesn't fucking matter, because people are tuning in to be entertained, not by the special graphics. That's why they go watch fucking, you know, the Avengers and shit. They want to just see some shit or, hear some shit that's cool and relatable and, that kills time for, however long your podcast is going for. So I wouldn't worry too much about, like, how fancy it looks or how good it is. And honestly, nowadays, I think the more rustic, the more real it feels. It's not overly produced and, it's just legit. Like right now, dude, it's like, fuck, I'm just getting a microphone and a fucking computer and I hit record. And then when it's done, I'm going to hit stop record and I'm going to upload it. And that's the show. Now, could I make it better and put like an intro with some bells and whistles and some explosions and shit? Probably. But if someone's actually tuning in to listen to this, do you think they're really going to care? If it was me, I'd be like, don't waste my fucking time. I'm not here to listen to your dumb 1 minute intro about whatever the fuck you are. I'm like, cut to the part that's awesome. Because that's what I want to listen to. So I just start talking. And hopefully what I'm saying is awesome.
So is there a program that actually, you know what I mean, once I figure out whatever kind of camera I'm going to use, right? Yeah. And probably some D-list microphone I find somewhere, because once again...
Yeah, the biggest things are microphone and lighting. Lighting is huge. I cannot stress enough. You need to make it brighter than you want it to be in there.
Right.
Like, you should be like, shit, I should probably put on some sunglasses, but I can't, because then it looks stupid. That means you got enough light.
Is there a program that so I can run like pop-up windows, like I'm saying? Like if I'm talking about something,
I think you can do all that in iMovie, honestly. I really do. You can probably do picture-in-picture. And yeah, you can definitely lay a video on top.
Okay. So I see. It's getting confused because, like I said, I'm not that tech savvy.
No worries.
I do know how to use Ken Burns and be able to resize stuff and do picture in iMovie. Yeah, I think
you're more than good enough. Just start out small. Just do one with one video insert and figure it out as you go.
See, I was under the impression that a lot of this was just kind of done live.
Oh, no. I mean, you can, but the amount of equipment and people you have to have behind it more so are a lot more than, like, what we're doing. That's why, like, right now I was looking, like, when I go to video, what I want to do is have it to where, like, whoever, let's say I'm talking with you, I want the videos to be whoever's talking, it's prioritizing that footage. So, like, if I'm talking, my face is big and your face is smaller. Then when you start talking, your face is big and my face is smaller. And this way, if there's like 3-4 people, it kind of like moves around, so you kind of get the center of attention of whoever's talking, etc. And I'm told by my buddy Joe that Skype does that. I haven't done it. I mean, what's crazy is in enterprise world of corporations, the telecommunication software, the teleconferencing software for video conferencing, they all do that, and they all look awesome, but they're expensive as shit, and I'm not paying for that for at home for this thing. So if Skype can do it, I'm golden.
I mean, what about just doing it like, so many of these social media platforms now, I mean, they hold live, right?
Yeah. I'm sure, dude, honestly, there's probably, I just don't know, but there probably is software, there's probably are services that do that make it life a lot easier. But here's my thing, when I find out, and you know this about me, the more time I spend researching it or trying to figure out whatever, it just gets more delayed and delayed and delayed. Like, if I ever want to do something, I just do it. I mean, the decision to start and execute this blog, this fucking podcast was, you know what, I need to fucking make a podcast. So I just turned on the microphone and started talking like 5 minutes later. Like, dude, I mean, the tattoo shop in California, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do it. And I just cut a check right there. I was like, let's fucking start. Oh, shit. The one in Puerto Rico is the same way. I remember, I actually have that footage recorded. I was in the jungle and I was just, doing my Body My TV blog or thing. And, I'm looking at the camera, I was like, you know what? I think I want to open a tattoo shop. And then I fucking did. Like, that day I went and signed a lease somewhere. I'm like, because for me, it's once I've kind of committed, like once I don't, just put my toes in, I go fucking balls deep. I'm like, fuck it. I'm doing it. I'm going fucking crazy with it. Let's see what happens. But figure it out as you go. Fuck it.
I guess I never really thought about that it never really is live. I guess, I mean, and when it comes to iMovie, I've done fishing videos before. I know how to do picture-in-picture.
Yeah.
I just have to set it up, right? And then if people called in,
yeah.
You know what I would just have to have, like, some kind of switchboard to be able to take multiple calls?
Dude, I shit you not, like, right now, you were calling in on my cell phone, and I have you on a stack of books.
I'm sure there's some kind of prop from the movie Alien in there somewhere, too.
Actually, my foot is resting on my alien head statue.
Yep, I figured that was definitely as well.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'm really going to start thinking about this, you know.
Fuck that, dude. Just do it. Just take your phone, prop it up with a couple books, you know, about 5 feet away from you, sit in a chair, start talking, put that shit up. Who cares what the quality is? Just start.
So how do you have it to where people are hearing us both talk right now? Are you just recording straight on speakerphone into a microphone? Or
yeah, so I got my laptop open, and I have this software called N-Track, and I have a microphone plugged in to the computer, which you don't need. I mean, it makes, you know, it sound a lot better, but it's still a necessity because the computer has a microphone in it. And dude, and then I got my phone just sitting next to that, and I'm just sitting here talking to you. That's it. Nothing crazy.
Do you think people would think it was cool to be hand feeding some aggressive fish while talking about fishing? Be pretty bitching, huh?
I can tell you this: I would watch it, and I don't like fishing. Dude, I got invited to go out and fishing on my fucking buddy's boats down in Puerto Rico. They're these big ass, you know, fucking $200,000 fucking crazy ass engine fishing boats.
Badass.
And we're flying around. I'm like, this is awesome. And then they stop to troll, and I'm like, this is fucking lame. So I'm like, because I don't fish, so I'm just sitting there hanging out, just drinking and enjoying the sun and whatever. But I'm like, man, I don't get fishing at all. I don't get it. It's just not my thing.
And I think it's like that. You know, there's 3 different types. There's the one that's just like you, that's like, why would I fish? There's a million other things that I can do.
Yeah, exactly.
Then there's the guy that takes his kid out fishing because his dad took him fishing, but doesn't really, you know what I mean?
I can see me doing that. Like, once my son gets older, you know, if he was like, hey, I want to go fishing, I'd be like, okay, let's go. You know, we should probably do that father-son thing once.
Right, exactly. And that's...
Actually, you know what's going to happen? If that ever happens, I'm going to call you. And I'm like, Vinny, me and my son, we're flying out to Utah. You're taking us fishing. You're going to show us what's up. Because if my son wants to experience fishing, I want him to experience fishing, not me with a Kmart rod and a fucking worm and a hook in a pond.
Right. Right. So there is so many people that are just like that. And that's cool, too. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, you know what? No. You know, I just want to pause real quick because I think this is something interesting that I get a lot too. Is people always ask me, like, hey, you know, I do a lot of crazy shit or I travel a lot, and they're always wondering how I do it. And it's so expensive and whatever. And it's like, so I just said, like, oh, you know, if my son later says he wants to fish, I'll fly him out to Utah so you can teach him to fish. Now that sounds like, holy shit, you're spoiling your kid, or wow, you have so much money or whatever. But dude, shit like that does not cost a lot of fucking money. I mean, you're my friend, so like I could be, hey Vinny, can me and my kid crash on your couch? I would assume you'd probably be like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Yes.
And then, so really, the only thing I'm going to have to pay for are airfare tickets to get there. And if I just time it out when it's cheap, dude, and make a longer drive, maybe it's like, dude, I could probably do the whole trip for like maybe $400.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you know that I'm an over-the-top crazy freaking fishing guy, so I've already opened my pocket out to buy every kind of bullshit fishing thing. So you know I already got it all. You're not even going to have to go and buy a rod.
Yeah, exactly.
You're going to show up here, and I'm just going to be excited about seeing you, whether we catch shit or not.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd probably enjoy fishing at that point in time. And dude, it's like, it doesn't have to be a week-long thing. It's like, okay, cool, leave on a Friday. We'll go fishing on all day Saturday, and then maybe fish Sunday morning, because I heard you guys get up early, and then fly back Sunday night.
Absolutely. And if that's something you ever want to do, you know, I get people all the time that ask me, you know, to pay me to take them out fishing. Oh, I'll pay you, you know. And I thought, oh, that might be a way to make some extra money. Yeah. But then after I took a few people out, I realized how much I really didn't like that many people. You know?
There's a reason I live in Utah in the middle of nowhere.
I was like, oh, man, you seemed all right last night at the bar where I met you. But today, I was like, oh, man, I have a great story about that, actually. This is a funny one. So, I meet this guy at the bar. He's a doctor. He says, hey, I hear you're the fishing guy around here. The local general store and other places, if people sometimes ask me in the area or ask them in the area where I live, if anybody knows fishing, they say, oh, go over to the bar and ask Vinny. So, you know, this guy comes over and he says, hey, I hear you're the fishing guy. I'm like, yeah, sure, what's up? You know, I talked to him a little bit about fishing, you know, and he starts asking me if I'm interested in taking him out. And I go, yeah, maybe I might, and then he's like, how about I give you some money? And I did it a few times before, and I was like, yeah, I'll take you out for a guide, He seemed cool. Didn't seem like it was going to be that big of a deal. Yeah. So the poop dick shows up.
Sorry for the screaming kid in the background. It's my nanny's kid. Sorry, I work at home with my kids so I can be around them as they grow up, so I don't miss it. So being too busy, that's one of the sacrifices I don't want to do anymore.
Right. So this guy, right? He shows up at on time, and I go, okay. We go to the gas station. He says, I know I'm paying you to take me out today, but I'm going to give you some gas money and all that. I go, man, this is heading out to be great. I'll show him a few things, and then hopefully when he comes back to this area next time, he can go out and do it himself, right?
Yeah.
So we get out on the lake, and he says, hey, do you want a beer? And I'm like, well, sure, I guess, whatever. I'll have a beer, right? It's fucking 6 o'clock in the morning.
Did he just go, I'm like, what kind of fucking alcoholic are you?
So I got a little red flag. He's got a cooler,
Okay.
And so okay, whatever, no big deal. Yeah, I'll have a beer. So I'm kind of telling him this is how we do it here, and the fishing's kind of slow, and he isn't listening to anything I'm saying. He's fucking doing everything he wants to do. So I start catching fish.
Well, that's what people ask advice for, so that they can go, okay, cool, and then do what they wanted to do in the first place all along.
Right. So I start catching some fish, some small fish, but I'm catching them. You know what I mean? And he's just he still isn't listening, right?
I don't have a man cave. Sorry. Oh fuck. Hey, sorry. Go ahead.
So then, after about 45 minutes of me catching fish and him not catching anything because he isn't listening, he thinks he's doing like on the river runs through it type fly fishing where he wants to fucking wing the thing all over the place. He doesn't even have his fly in the fucking water. He ain't catching shit. He asked me if it's okay if he drinks some scotch.
Jesus. Yeah, I like the way this guy talks. He's leveling up.
Yeah, he says, do you mind if I drink some scotch? Now, meanwhile, he's pounded probably, 3 Devastators, or Utah beer here, made by Wasatch. I think they're 8 or 9%.
Okay.
Right? The fucking sun isn't really up yet, Adam. And he asked me if I mind if he drinks some scotch. So what do you say? I just fucking go ahead.
He's already started. Let's get this party going.
So needless to say, by noon the guy is just trashed. He's spilling beers all over my boat, and he's fucking about to fall in the water. I'm like, oh man, now he's really winging this shit around. There's hooks all over the place. He wants to try to, he says, I want to use that fly rod. And I said, oh, mine? I'm like, actually, dude, I got this thing as a gift, and it was $600, and I would never buy a $600 rod. So you got that one right there. How about that? Well, I think you're catching more because you're using, a better rod. He's just hammered and kind of being a douche now. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I put my rod away, pull out another shitty fucking rod that I bought for $80, and fucking start catching more fish.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, he gets too drunk anyways. To make a long story short, he gets too drunk and he wants to go home. So I say, okay, well, let's go home. I take him to the dock. I said, okay, now just sit right here, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get my fucking truck. This is where the story gets good, Adam. I'm going to get my fucking truck. So I get my truck and I back it down the fucking launch ramp. And I look in my rearview mirror and I go, is that fucking guy driving my boat?
What? He stole your boat?
He's driving my fucking boat, dude. Right? And he's shit-faced. Now he has no idea what he's doing. And then there's a guy launching a $50,000 or $60,000 brand new Ranger bass boat right next to him.
Huh.
I full-on panic, right? I'm like, oh my god, dude, this dude is going to hit this guy's fucking boat.
Holy
right?
shit.
He's trying to drive it in. I'm going, stop, stop. I've got my arms waving in the air, right? I'm waist deep in the water going, stop, stop. And he's going forward and reverse, and he starts going at a slow rate of speed right towards this guy's brand new boat.
Oh.
And the guy is fucking freaking out. So I jump in, further in, swim over, and I get in between the two boats.
What the fuck?
This is true, too. I tell this story at the bar all the time. This is no bullshit. I get in between the two fucking boats, right? And I've got my hand on dude's $50,000 boat, and I've got my other hand on my freaking $4,000 boat. And the guy is giving the boat more fucking gas. And I'm like, dude, fucking stop! Right? So now I'm fucking pissed. So he stops. I say, now get the fuck out of my boat. I'm pissed, right?
Okay.
He gets out of my boat.
You guys don't know Vinny, by the way. When Vinny gets pissed, dude, you better watch the fuck out.
It doesn't happen very often, but when it happens, it gets bad.
Yeah.
So my voice gets shaky and everything. So that's where I was at, dude.
Redneck
Stop.
rampage.
Yes. So then he says, okay, hey man, there's people all around, right? He goes, hey man, you seem like you're getting all fucking pissed off. I said, what are you, some kind of fucking dumbass? Get the fuck off my boat, right? So he gets off, apologizes, put the fucking boat on the trailer. We're driving back to fucking where he leaves his fucking car at my fucking house. I pull up to the fucking front yard, wake him up, and I said, dude, we're back.
He's like, back from what?
You know what he tells me? I can't leave. I'm too drunk to drive.
Oh my god.
And I go, so what the fuck? You think you're going to stay here?
Huh.
So
You got a roommate?
I set him up with a fucking Chase Lounge and a fucking bottle of water and went inside.
Oh my god.
He sat out there till 11 o'clock at night. And we got home about 2 in the afternoon.
Holy shit, dude. Well,
Just
I think
so,
I think my time has ended. My littlest one is there he is.
There he is.
That's my alarm. So I think I'm done recording for now.
All right.
Okay.
Gotta go.
See you guys later.
See you.
Bye.